Good evening again. So, I was told, no, I saw a YouTube video that, with these conversations, you should approach it you know, like how you would converse with someone when you are having coffee with them, a coffee chat or tea. Basically, how you would converse with someone when you are at a cafe. Well, the issue with that is that, we've never been uh, we haven't had a lot of conversations with people on a cafe. So we don't really know how we would have a conversation with someone in a cafe. So, you know, that is a dilemma that we have because although we are a bit familiar with having a conversation with someone whilst holding coffee. So, I find that, even though we haven't conversed with someone over coffee in a cafe, we've had plenty of conversations with people with a drink in our hand, and I do agree it does help and it does make you seem more fluent, and the conversations do seem to flow better when you have a coffee in your hands. Okay, but yeah, I guess that's just what I wanted to point out because it is an interesting idea, and I wonder, you know, why does coffee have that effect? Don't you wonder how does coffee, make conversation better? Or is that an inherent trait of coffee, or does that apply to all drinks in general? Because wouldn't you say that it has the same effect with, getting drunk or alcohol? So I find that with alcohol, it also improves, the flow of conversations. So for some reason, conversations are just more fun and, more flowy when alcohol is around. So, they say that it is the intoxication or the effects of alcohol. But what does alcohol really do that makes conversations just feel more flowy, just more natural? You can say that yeah, it's the intoxication. It numbs your mind around. Maybe it, you know, turns off parts of your brain that are responsible for, us holding back conversation conversations. But wouldn't you say that, wouldn't you say that it is interesting that there is that sort of mechanism in our brains, that there are mechanisms in our head that prevents us from just being fluent with our conversations. There are mechanisms in our body that are working against us in social situations. So, and we might also argue the topic of, social mechanisms. I think that a lot of social mechanisms just work against us. There are so many rules in social gatherings that aren't natural for humans. I guess that is what they call, civil society, because with civil society there are so much rules, and as something that was mentioned from our class before, this trait that humans have, being civil and well mannered, is what separates us from the beasts, the animals. So, yeah. So, being civil is what separates us from animals. But wouldn't you say that we have always been animals? Isn't it arrogant for humans to, you know, look at themselves as beyond or above every other being in this world. I mean, I guess that we also have to take credit for it. I mean, we did become the top dogs on this planet. We were able to dominate the entire world. There's no other way to say it. We really are, the kings of this world. It's not the lion anymore. We are. And so maybe that, you know, maybe that has played a role in it, being civil and all of that stuff. We needed to have that mindset or quality to look at ourselves, as above the animals and the beasts in the wild. So I guess that's it for this few 10 minutes. So time just flew by. This was an interesting talk. I believe that I had fun on this one, and this one is much more interesting compared to my, you know, other performances. But yeah, I guess that we should end this on good terms. So I won't be long with it, and see you on the next one. I really enjoyed, this session or this one take with me. So see ya.